Reed as a political person, he's pro-Palestine across the board. I go there, I get an endless sea of attacks being like, oh, he's doing promotional propaganda for China. Promotional propaganda for China. He's getting paid by the CCP. Chi-coms are paying him, that kind of thing. But because iShowSpeed is so popular and so outside of the sphere of politics that he gets to show it. He gets to show China in this unfiltered lens in ways that people can consume and appreciate.
China is crazy, yo. Look at this city. God damn. Like, how do you even build something like that? And a low-key in the future, bro. If y'all think about it. Low-key in the future.
Is China in the future or is everywhere else just in the past?
Damn! Is China in the future or is everywhere else in the past? Damn!
I don't know. 'Cause I've never been to a fucking country where they have like stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's cyberpunk. It literally is cyberpunk. iShowSpeed went 100 meters underground in China only to end up on top of a skyscraper. How the fuck did y'all even make this? Speed was shocked. The stream really shows how underdeveloped the West looks compared to China.
This is the ground floor, right?
Right?
Turn around. Take a look.
What the fuck?
I keep telling everyone, if we had a society of slave labor wages, we too could have amazing growth and development. Yeah, except America did have that, you fucking idiot. What are you talking about? What do you think chattel slavery was? And we still do. We still have slavery in our prison system. What are you talking about? We still have hyper exploitation in the form of undocumented migrants constantly coming to the country. It is not a fucking matter of slave labor. It's a matter of central planning. That's it. It's about distributing the bounties rather than keeping it in the hands of a select few group of elites. That's what it is. These guys are so fucking stupid. China was able to do this without enslaving people, without colonizing Africa. They did this without colonizing Africa. Same with the USSR. People constantly talk about the horrifying work conditions of the USSR or the famines of the USSR. And same with China. And they don't realize that collectivization happening like that inside of a country, a massive country like that, especially in comparison to their prior material conditions before revolutions, in comparison to where they were before the USSR was developed. And then Tibet, bro. Dude, you cannot compare Tibet to Africa and chattel slavery. Are you out of your mind? Please open one history book. Please, I beg you. I fucking beg of you to understand. Same with the USSR. Words have to mean things, dude. You can't just be like, nope, well, what about Tibet? You can't just like make these comparisons. What are you talking about? Tibet under previous Chinese leadership, under the nationalists, and even prior to that, always had a special autonomous status where they did have slavery. That is before Mao. Tibet did have slavery before Mao. It's the exact opposite argument to make. It's so stupid. Talking about like the cultural erosion of Tibet and Tibetan culture aside, okay, because you can make a valid argument there. You can't make this comparison to fucking American and Western colonialist expansion in Africa and chattel slavery specifically. It took 400 years and chattel slavery and endless colonies for the West to develop to the degree that they did in comparison to the USSR and China that did it in a much shorter period of time with much less without actually, enslaving people. These are not even remotely comparable instances. The USSR was at war from literally 1914 to 1922, and then again from 1939 to 1945. In that same time, their literacy rate almost doubled from 40 to 80%. Then they went on to challenge a global superpower after losing 20% of their population to put the first person into space. Exactly. They went from agrarian backwater potato farmers to outcompeting the American government to the space race to get to space before them. Yuri Gagarin. Like that is insane. That is an insane development for humanity, okay? Let's be serious. You don't have to be a USSR glazer or love Stalin to put some respect on that. If you were honest about it, you would recognize that for what it is. This picture really just illustrates the development of China over the last 5 decades, and now it's in one person's lifetime. That's the same dude? That's crazy. To be honest, you undermine the oppression Uyghurs undergo in Xinjiang. I'm not even trying to defend the West here or brush over China's development. No, I don't do that. I don't do that at all. It's just that anytime I say China, Uyghur, Xinjiang, China developed Uyghur, Xinjiang, I have to Uyghur, Xinjiang, mention Uyghur, Xinjiang every time I talk about China, Uyghur, Xinjiang. If I don't do that, then Americans go, what the f are you doing? I've never heard what you had to say, so you must love that shit. I don't. And I never have defended that practice at all, which is really weird because when I talk about, like, I don't know, the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, I don't have to go, Wisconsin, America, chattel slavery, indigenous genocide, Supreme Court race, American chattel slavery, indigenous genocide was a glaringly obvious victory. American chattel slavery, indigenous genocide, American constant third world exploitation, Iraq war, unjustifiable war on terror, $6 trillion, $7 trillion, millions of Iraqis dead was a handy defeat to Elon Musk. Do you see what I mean? Your expectation is I have to constantly slam that into every conversation. Otherwise, I'm not sufficiently objective for you, for your taste. Like when I talk about America or things that America does that's good, like due process, for example, I don't have to always talk about the metric ton of awful shit that takes place in modern American society and what has happened historically in American development. Do you understand? I can have a normal conversation. But your expectation, or many people's liberal preconditioning on this matter, is you have to literally say, anytime you say China, you have to say Uyghur Xinjiang, Uyghur Xinjiang re-education camps, Uyghur Xinjiang re-education camps. China, Uyghur Xinjiang re-education camps was able to Uyghur Xinjiang re-education camps, develop Uyghur Xinjiang re-education camps, high-speed rail, Uyghur Xinjiang re-education camps. That's how you want me to cover the story. Can't talk about Palestine and Palestinian development without constantly going, I condemn Hamas, I condemn Hamas, I condemn Hamas, I condemn Hamas. Was that sufficiently accurate reporting for your liberal taste? Do I have to do that every time? Henry Kissinger, NSA mass surveillance, Kent State, Church of Scientology, David Miscavige, Occupy Wall Street, May 4th, 1970 massacre, May 13th, 1985 move bombing, Red Summer, 1919 House Un-American Activities Committee, Trail of Tears, Jim Crow segregation, Human Rights, United Safety, high-speed rail, all to just say, I like due process in America, or I like the First Amendment in America. I have to say all of these things before I get there. If your expectation is not for me to do that, then it shouldn't be to constantly slam Uyghur Xinjiang every single time, like I'm doing a land acknowledgement. And this is precisely why I said iShowSpeed is the perfect person to showcase something that most Western media never shows, just average tier 1 city existence in China. That's why I said he's the perfect person to do it, not me. Because if I were to do it, they would be like, Uyghur Xinjiang re-education camps, Tibet, Taiwan, Chinese invasion of Vietnam, Chinese support for Khmer Rouge. They would be just like, Tiananmen Square. They'd be vomiting in the chat. Oh my God, I just realized it's literally Maoist standard English, but for libs. Yeah, it is. Liberals have their own Maoist standard English version, which is Uyghur Xinjiang, Tibet, Taiwan, Tiananmen Square, Khmer Rouge. Ironic, you can also say USA support for Khmer Rouge as well, but...
And chat, y'all know a funny story, and I'm not even capping. Every city in China looks exactly like this. Every city. Chat, not even the big ones look exactly like this. This is Chongqing Cyberpunk City in China. Let's go.
Switch.
Let's get that shot, baby.
Switch.
Oh my God. Look at this city! Oh my God! Yours looks nuts!
Tell them to come to
Oh
the car.
my God! This is China!
Come to the car,
This is Chongqing, baby!
It's just crazy to think that, like, it's crazy to act like this is not insanely impressive. Like, shit that was considered a ghost city and dunked on and made fun of by Western media in perpetuity now is like a city that puts many Western capitals to shame. This is Chongqing 30 years ago versus today. Americans couldn't understand. Like that, dude, 30 years, dude. Come on. The saddest part about this is that with the exception of like some major American metropolitans, you could literally do this in reverse with most American areas of industry. If you did a 30-year snapshot of like Gary, Indiana or Detroit, you would see the reverse